Contis, those last 5 years in Chicago were amongst the busiest and happiest of my life.
And from Chicago, we go to South Bend, Indiana.
They wouldn't be interested in our experience in Indiana.
Well, Jonathon, I'm sure you've led a very interesting life, but we really shouldn't have allowed you to talk so much.
My meeting Dr. Einstein, I might say, changed the entire course of my life. You remembered I was in South Africa, the diamond business, then Amsterdam, the diamond market. I wanted to go back to South Africa, and Dr. Einstein made that possible for me.
Yeah, a good job, Johnny. When we set up the bandages, his face looked so different. The nurse had introduced me.
I remember that face, Doctor. I loved it. I still carry a picture of it around.
This looks more like you used to look, but still I wouldn't know you.
I think we'll go back to that face, Doctor.
It's safe now.
Oh, well, I know you two want to get to where you're going.
Oh, my dear aunts, I'm so full of that delicious dinner, I'm unable to move a muscle.
Yeah, it's nice here.
After all, it's very late.
I found it! I found it!
What did you find, Eddie?
Story of my life, my biography. Here's the picture I was telling you about, General. Here we are, President Roosevelt and General Gerstl's at the Cobra Cut. That's me, General, and that's you.
My, how I've changed.
Well, you see, that picture hasn't been taken yet. We're still digging new locks. We haven't even started work on the Cobra Cut. And now, General, you will come with me to Panama and inspect the new lock.
Teddy, I think it's time you went to bed.
I beg your pardon, who are you?
I'm Woodrow Wilson. Go to bed.
No, you're not Wilson. But your face is familiar. Let me see. Yes! On my hunting trip to Africa. You look like someone I might meet in the jungle.
It's your brother. He's had his face changed.
So that's it! A nature faker!
And perhaps you better had go to bed. After all, Jonathon and Dr. Einstein have to go back to their hotel.
General Gerthel's inspect the canal.
Well, Mr. President, we go to Panama, huh?
Bully! Bully! Follow me, General! It's down south, you know.
Okay. Well, bon voyage.
Aunt Abby, I must correct your misapprehension. You spoke of our hotel. We have no hotel. You see, we came straight here.
Well, there's a very nice little hotel just 3
Aunt
blocks
Martha,
up-
this is my home.
No, Jonathon, you can't stay here. We need our rooms.
You need them.
Yes, for our lodgers.
Are there lodgers in this house?
Well, not just now.
Then my room is still available.
But, Jonathon, there wouldn't be any room for Dr. Einstein.
You'll share the room with me.
No, Jonathon, I'm afraid you can't stay here.
Dr. Einstein and I need a place to sleep. You remember this afternoon that as a boy I could be disagreeable. It wouldn't be very pleasant for any of us if I were to...
Perhaps we'd better let him stay here.
Just for tonight.
Then it's settled. Now if you'll get my room ready.
We only need dinner now. We keep it ready for our lodgers. I hope you and Dr. Einstein will find it comfortable.
You have a most distinguished guest in Dr. Einstein. I'm afraid you don't quite appreciate his skill, but you will. In a few weeks' time, you'll see me looking like a very different Jonathan.
He can't operate on you here.
When Dr. Einstein and I get organized, when we resume practice. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we're turning Grandfather's laboratory into an operating room. We
No.
expect to be quite busy.
Jonathon, we will not let you turn this house into a hospital.
A hospital, heavens no. It will be a beauty parlor.
Hey, Johnny, is he Cedric?
Dr. Einstein, my aunts have invited us to live with them.
You fixed it up.
Just for tonight.
Now, get the room ready.
Well,
Or tonight.
Hey, Johnny, is Cedric? What do you think I'm going?
What?
The Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal.
It just fits Mrs. Menarzo. It's a hortalido. It's 4 feet tall and 6 feet wide.
Down there.
You'd think they knew we were bringing Mrs. Menarzo. That's what I call hospitality.
Rather a good joke on my aunts. Living in a house with a body buried in their cellar.
How do we bring him in?
Yes. We can't just walk him through the front door. We'll drive the car up between the house and the cemetery. Then, once they've gone to bed, we'll bring him in through the window.
Oh, bed. Just think, Johnny. We got to bed tonight.
Easy, doctor. You are operating tomorrow, and this time you'd better be sober.
Don't worry, Johnny. I fix you up.
And if you don't,
Jonathan, your room is ready.
then you two can run along to bed. We're pulling the car up alongside the house.
It's all right where it is until morning.
I don't want to leave it in the street. That might be illegal.
Oh, Abby, what are we going to do?
We're not going to let Jonathan stay in this house one night longer, that's for sure. What would the neighbors think? People walking in with one face and walking out with another.
What about Mr. Hoskins?
Oh, Mr. Hoskins. Oh, it can't be very comfortable for him down there. Oh, and he's been so patient, the poor dear. Well, I think Teddy better get him downstairs right away.
Abby, I will not invite Jonathan to the funeral.
Oh, no. We'll wait till they've gone to bed and then hold the services.
General Gertels was very pleased. He says the gown is just the right size.
Oh, Teddy. Teddy, there has been another yellow fever victim.
Dear me, this will be a surprise to the General.
Then we mustn't tell him about it.
But it's his department.
No, Teddy, we mustn't tell him. It would just spoil his visit.
I'm sorry, Aunt Abby. It's out of my hands. He'll have to be told. Army regulations, you know.
No, Teddy, we must keep it a secret.
Yes.
A state secret?
Yes, a state secret.
You have the word of the President of the United States. Cross my heart and hope to die. How are you going to keep it a secret?
Well, you go down in the cellar, and when I turn out the lights, when it's all dark, you come up and take the poor man down to the canal. Now, go along, Teddy.
And we'll come down later and hold services.
You may announce the President will say a few words. Where is the poor devil?
He's in the window seat.
Oh, dear me, it seems to be spreading. We've never had a yellow fever victim there before.
Oh, Martha, when Jonathan and Dr. Einstein get back, let's see if we can get them to bed right away.
Yes. Then by the time they're asleep, we'll be dressed and ready for the services. Abby, I've never even seen Mr. Hoskins.
Oh, that's right. You were out when he came. Well, you just come and see him right now. He's really very nice looking, considering he's a Methodist.
Ooh. Ah! We're bringing the luggage through here.
The room is waiting for you, Jonathan. You can go right up.
I'm afraid we don't keep Brooklyn hours, but you two run along to bed.
Now, you two must be very tired, and I mean, we don't go to bed this early.
Well, you should. It's time I come home to take care of you.
We weren't planning to go.
Aunt Varga, did you hear me say go to bed?
Yes, come, Abby.
I'll wait till you're up and then turn out the lights.
The luggage can go to the laboratory in the morning. Now then, we are all going to bed. Run along, Aunt Martha. All right, Aunt Abby.
I'll be right up.
Now, Aunt Abby, turn out the lights. I'll open the window. You go around and hand him through.
No, Johnny. He's too heavy for me. You go around and push. I stay here and pull. Then together, we bring him down to Panama.
All right. I'll take a look around outside the house. When I tap on the glass, you open the window.
Okay. Johnny? Okay, I look. Wait, you left the leg somewhere. Okay. Sorry, Johnny, I slipped.
Be more careful.
The shoe came off. Okay. I got it. Oh, Johnny, sorry at the door. Go quick. I'm in a chair. Go quick.
Miss Abby. Miss Martha. Miss Abby. Miss Martha. Who is it? Is that you, Teddy? Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Elaine Harper. I live next door.
Then what are you doing here?
I came to see Miss Abby and Miss Martha.
Turn on the lights, Doctor. You chose a rather untimely moment for a social call.
I think you'd better explain what you're doing here.
We happen to live here.
You don't live here. I'm here almost every day of my life, and I've never seen you before. Where are Miss Abby and Miss Martha?
Perhaps we'd better introduce ourselves. This is Dr. Einstein,
Dr. Einstein?
a surgeon of great distinction and somewhat of a magician.
And I suppose you're going to tell me your brother's car.
I'm Jonathon.
Oh, you're Jonathan.
I see you've heard of me.
Yes, this afternoon for just the first time.
And what is the latest?
Only that there was another brother named Jonathan. That's all that was said. Well, that explains everything. Now that I know who you are, I'll be running along home. If you'd kindly unlock the door.
That explains everything. And what exactly did you mean by that? Why did you come here at this time of night?
I thought I saw someone prowling around the house. I suppose it was you.
You thought you saw someone prowling around the house?
Yes, they were outside. Isn't that your car?
You saw someone at the car?
Yes,
What else did you see?
that's it. Just someone going around the house to the car.
What else did you see?
That's it. That's why I came over. I wanted to tell Miss Abby to call the police, but if that was you and that's your car, I don't need to call or bother Miss Abby.
What was the man doing at the car?
I don't know. You see, I was on my way over here.
I think you're lying.
No, Johnny, I think she tells the truth. We let her go now, eh?
I think she's lying. Breaking into a house at this time of night, I think she's dangerous. She should have been let her own loose.
Let go. Take your hands off of me!
It's going to be a private funeral.
Teddy, tell these men who I am!
That's my daughter, Alice.
No!
Go back to your room.
Oh, we'll call the police.
We call the police. Go back to your room. Do you hear me?
Where have you been?
I was in the Nora Bay's Theater when I should have known better. My God, I'm still there.
It's your brother, Jonathon, dear. And this is Dr. Einstein.
I know this isn't a nightmare, but what is it?
I've come back home, Mortimer.
What did you say this was?
Brother Jonathon, he's had his face changed. Dr. Einstein performed the operation.
Jonathan. Jonathan, you always were a horror. Do you look like one? Easy, Chucky, easy! What?
Mortimer, have you forgotten the things I used to do to you when we were boys? Remember the time you were tied to the bedpost? Needles under your fingernails?
Yes, I remember. I remember he was the most detestable, vicious, venomous form of animal life I ever knew.
Well, now don't you two boys start quarreling at each other the minute you've seen each other again.
There won't be any fight, Aunt Abby. Jonathan, you're not wanted here. Get out.
We've been invited to stay.
Not in this house.
Just for tonight.
I don't want him anywhere near me.
But we did promise them they could stay the night, and it wouldn't be very nice to go back on our word.
All right, tonight. But the first thing in the morning, out. Where are they sleeping?
We put them in Jonathan's old room.
That's my old room. That's where I'm sleeping. I'm here to stay.
Mortimer, we're so glad.
It's okay, Johnny. You sleep down here tonight.
You bet your life you sleep down here.
You will sleep on the sofa, and I will sleep on the window seat.
The window seat. Oh, well, let's not argue about it. The window seat's good enough for me for tonight.
You know, Johnny, what is this argument? It makes me think of Mr. Spinozzo.
Well, now, Mortimer, it really isn't necessary to inconvenience you like this. We'll sleep down here.
Jonathan, your son in consideration for me is very unconvincing.
Now, Johnny, you get our things out of the room, eh?
Don't bother, Doctor.
By the way, Doctor, I've completely lost track of Mr. Spinozza.
Who's this Mr. Spinozzo?
It's just a friend of ours Johnny's been looking for.
Well, don't bring anyone else in here.
It's okay, Johnny. I'll be back. I'll tell you all about it.
Mortimer, you really don't have to sleep down here tonight. You can take my room, and I'll go in with Martha.
Oh, it's no trouble at all, Aunt Abby. We'll be packed in a few minutes, and then you can have the room, Mortimer.
You're just wasting your time, Jonathan. I told you I'm sleeping down here.
Mortimer,
What's the matter with you?
I've almost been killed.
You've almost been Abby, Martha.
Jonathan took her for a sneak thief.
No, it was more than that. He's a maniac, Mortimer. I'm afraid of him.
My darling, you're trembling. Have you got any smelling salts?
No, but do you think some tea or coffee?
Coffee. Make some for me, too. And some sandwiches. I haven't had any dinner.
We'll make something for you both.
Martha, we can leave our hats downstairs here now.
You weren't going out somewhere, were you? Do you know what time it is? It's after 12. 12! Elaine, you've got to go home.
What?
Why, you wanted some sandwiches for you both. Oh, it won't be a minute.
Why, don't you remember? We wanted to celebrate your engagement. Yes, that's what we'll do. We'll make some tea, or we'll make a nice supper for you both. And we'll open a bottle of wine.
All right. No wine!
Mortimer, what's going on in this house?
What do you mean, what's going on in this house?
You were supposed to take me to dinner in the theater tonight. You called it off. You asked me to marry you, and then 5 minutes later, you ran me out of the door. Then after your brother tries to strangle me, you're trying to chase me on home. Now before I go, tell me where I stand. Do you love me?
I love you very much, Elaine. In fact, I love you so much I can't marry you.
Have you suddenly gone crazy?
I don't think so, but it's just a matter of time. You see, insanity runs in my family. practically gallops.
Now you've got to do better than that.
No, dear, if you really knew my family, it's what you'd expect if Strindberg had written How's It Poppin'?
Now, just because Teddy's a little...
No, it goes way back. To the first rooster. The one who came over on the Mayflower. You know how in those days the Indians used to scalp the settlers? He used to scalp the Indians.
Mortimer, that's ancient history.
And then there's my grandfather. He tried his patent medicines out on dead people to be sure he wouldn't kill them.
He wasn't so crazy, he made $1 million.
And then there's Jonathon. You just said he was a maniac. He tried to kill you.
He's your brother, not you. I'm in love with you.
And there's Teddy, too. You know Teddy. He thinks he's Roosevelt. No, dear, no Brewster should marry. I realize now that if I'd met my father in time, I'd have stopped him.
Now, all of this doesn't prove you're crazy. Take your aunts, for example. They're Brewsters, and some of the sanest, sweetest people I've ever met.
Well, even they have their peculiarities.
Yes, but what nice peculiarities. Kindness, generosity, human sympathy.
There's another one.
There are lots of others, but you can't tell me anything about your aunts.
I'm not going to. Elaine, you've got to go home. Something very important has just come up.
Up from where? We're here, alone, together.
I know I'm acting irrationally, but just put it down to the fact that I'm a mad Brewster.
Now, if you think that you're going to get out of this by pretending you're insane, you're crazy. You might not be marrying me, but I'm going to marry you. I love you, you dope.
Well, if you love me, will you get the hell out of here?
Will you at least take me home? I'm afraid.
Afraid? A little walk through the cemetery?
Well, you'll give me a kiss, won't you?
Of course, dear. Whoa. All right, dear. I'll call you up in a day or two.
You critic.
And Abby and Martha, come in here.
We'll be in a minute, dear.
Come in here now.
Yes, dear, what is it? Where's Elaine?
I thought you promised me you weren't going to let anyone else in the house while I was gone.
Well, Jonathon just walked in.
Don't mean Jonathan.
And Dr. Einstein was with him.
Don't mean Dr. Einstein. Who's that in the window seat?
We told you, Mr. Hoskins.
That is not Mr. Hoskins.
Well, who can that be?
Are you trying to tell me you've never seen this man before?
I certainly am. Why, this is a fine how do you do. It's getting to be so anybody thinks they can waltz in here.
Abby, don't you try to get out of this. That's another one of your gentlemen.
Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? That man's an imposter. And if he came here to be buried in our cellar, he's mistaken.
Abby, you admitted to me that you put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat.
Yes, I did.
Oh, they couldn't have just got the idea from Mr. Hoskins. By the way, where is Mr. Hoskins?
Oh, he must have gone to Panama.
Oh, you buried him?
Oh, no, not yet. He's just down there waiting for the services, poor dear. We haven't had a minute with Jonathon in the house. Oh, dear, I've always wanted to hold a double funeral, but I will not read services over a total stranger.
A stranger? And Abby, how can I believe you? There are 12 men in the cellar and you admit you poisoned them.
Yes, I did, but you don't think I stooped to telling a fib? Martha!
Oh, Mortimer, I'd like to have a word with you.
Words about all you'll have time for, Jonathan. Because I decided that you and your doctor friend are going to have to get out of here just as quickly as possible.
I'm glad you recognize the fact that you and I can't live under the same roof. But you've arrived at the wrong conclusion. Take your suitcase and get out.
Jonathan, you're beginning to bore me. You played your one-night stand in Brooklyn. Move on.
Mortimer, just because you graduated from the back fence to the theater, don't think you've grown up. I'm staying and you're leaving, and I mean now.
If you think I can be frightened, if you think there's anything I fear...
Mortimer, I've lived a strange life, but if it's taught me one thing, it's to be afraid of nothing.
Martha, just look and see what's in that window seat.
No, Aunt Abby.
Jonathan, let Aunt Martha see what's in the window seat. And Abby, I owe you an apology. I have some very good news for you. Jonathan is leaving. He's taking Dr. Einstein and their cold companion with them. Jonathan, you're my brother. You're a Brewster. I'm going to give you a chance to get out and take the evidence with you. You can't ask for more than that. All right. In that case, I'm going to have to call the police.
Don't reach for that telephone, Mortimer. Are you still giving me orders after seeing what's happened to Mr. Spinoza?
Fernando? I knew he was a foreigner.
What happened to Spinoza can happen to you, too.
Hello, Miss Abby.
Officer O'Hara, is there something we can do for you?
Well, I saw your lights on, thought there might be sickness in the house, and... Oh. You got company. I'm sorry I disturbed you.
No. Come in.
Yes, come in.
Come right in, Officer O'Hara. Now, this is our nephew, Mortimer.
Pleased to meet you.
And this is another nephew, Jonathon.
Ugh. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Well, it must be nice having your nephews visiting you. Are they going to stay with you for a bit?
I'm staying. My brother Jonathon is just leaving.
Say, I've met you here before, haven't I?
I'm afraid not. Jonathon hasn't been home for many years.
But your face, it looks familiar to me. Maybe I've seen a picture of you around here somewhere.
I don't think so.
Yes, Jonathon, I'd hurry if I were you. Your things are all packed anyway, aren't they?
Oh, well, you'll be wanting to say your goodbyes. I'll just be running along.
Now, what's the rush? I'd like to have you stick around until my brother goes.
Well, I just dropped in to make sure everything was all right.
We're about to have some coffee in a minute. Want you to join us?
Oh, I forgot the coffee.
And I'll make some sandwiches. I ought to know your appetite by this time, Officer O'Hara.
Well, don't bother. I'm due to ring in a few minutes.
You can have a cup of coffee with us. My brother will be gone soon.
Say, ain't I seen a photograph of your brother around here someplace?
I don't think so.
He certainly reminds me of somebody.
He looks like somebody you've probably seen in the movies.
I never go to the movies. I hate them. My mother says the movies is a bastard art.
Yes, it's full of them. Your mother said that?
Yeah, my mother was an actress. Stage actress. Perhaps you've heard of her. Peaches Latour.
Sounds like a name I've seen on a program. What did she play?
Well, the biggest hit was Mutt and Jeff. Played it for 3 years. I was born on tour. 3rd season. Yup! Sioux City, Iowa. I was born in the dressing room at the end of the 2nd act. And Mother made the finale.
What a trooper. That must be a good story in your mother. You know, I write about the theater.
You do? Say! You're not Mortimer Brewster, the dramatic critic.
Yes.
Wow! Am I certainly glad to meet you. You know, Mr. Brewster, we're in the same line of business.
We are?
Yup, I'm a playwright. Oh, this being on the police force thing is just temporary.
How long have you been on the force?
12 years. I got the material for my play.
I bet it's a honey.
Well, it ought to be with all the drama I see being a cop. Mr. Brewster, you have no idea what goes on in Brooklyn.
Oh, I think I have.
Say, what time you got?
10 after 1.
Oh, gee, I gotta ring in.
Oh, wait a minute, O'Hara. On that play of yours, I may be able to help you.
You what? Say, it was my fate walking in here tonight meeting you. Look, I'll tell you the plot.
Oh, you're on your way, eh? Good. Haven't got much time, you know.
Everything's just about ready. Oh, you're leaving, Jonathon? Well, goodbye. Goodbye, Dr. Einstein. Oh, doesn't this case belong to you?
Oh, yes. You can't go without taking all of your things with you, you know. Well, O'Hara, it was nice meeting you. I'll see you again and we'll talk about your play.
Oh, I didn't even know, Mr. Brewster.
Why not?
Well, you just offered to help me write my play, didn't you? You and me are gonna write my play together.
I can't do that. Not a creative writer.
Oh, I'll do the creating. You just put the words to it.
But O'Hara, I know.
No, son, Mr. Brewster. I ain't leaving this house till I tell you the plot.
In that case, Mortimer, we'll be running along.
No, you don't. Don't try that. You've got to take everything with you, you know. Look, O'Hara, my brother will be gone soon.
I've been waiting 12 years.
Oh, sorry I took so long.
Don't bring those in here. Mr. Officer O'Hara, would you like to join us for a bite in the kitchen?
The kitchen.
Jonathan's leaving.
Oh, isn't that nice? Well, come along, Officer O'Hara.
Are you sure you don't mind eating in the kitchen?
And where else would you eat?
Nice to have seen you again, Jonathan.
I'm glad you came back to Brooklyn, Jonathan, because it gives me a chance to throw you out. And the first one to go is your boyfriend, Mr. Spinozzi.
I might have known you'd grow up to write a play with a police officer.
Get going now, all three of you.
Doctor, this affair between my brother and me has got to be settled.
Now, Johnny, your brother gives us a chance to get away. What more could you ask?
You don't understand. This goes back a great many years.
Now, Johnny, let's get going, eh?
No, we stay right here tonight, Doctor.
Is a cop in the kitchen and Mr. Spinozzi in the window seat?
That's all he's got on us.
All he's
We'll
got
dump the body in the bay and then come back here. And if he tries to interfere then...
Okay.
Take the bags down to the cellar. Move fast. Spinozzi can go out the way he came in. What's the matter?
You know there's a hole in the cellar?
Yes.
There's a nace in the hole. Come on, I'll show you. No.
Jonathan!
Yes.
Where have you been? I thought I told you to get out of here.
We're not going anywhere.
Oh, you're not? You thought I wasn't serious, eh? You want Dr. O'Hara to know what's in that window seat?
We're staying right here.
All right, you asked for it. This gets me rid of you and Officer O'Hara at the same time. Officer O'Hara, come in here.
If you tell O'Hara what's in the window seat, I'll tell her what's down in the cellar.
The cellar?
There's an elderly gentleman down there who seems to be very dead.
What were you doing down in the cellar?
No. What was he doing in this?
No thanks, Dan. You're fine. I have plenty.
Now, what were you going to say to Officer O'Hara?
Say, Mr. Brewster, your aunts want to hear the plot too. Shall I get them in here?
No, you can't do that now. You've got to ring in.
To hell with ringing in. I'll get them in here and tell you the plot.
No, you go ring in, and I'll meet you alone someplace later.
Oh. How about the back room at Kelly's?
That's fine. You go ring in, and I'll meet you at Kelly's.
Why don't you two go down to the cellar?
Ooh. That's all right by me. Is this the cellar?
No, O'Hara. You can't do that now. You've got to ring in. And afterward, I'll meet you at Kelly's.
All right. Then only take a couple of minutes.
I'll ditch this guy and be back in 5 minutes. I expect to find you gone. Wait for me.
We'll wait for him, Doctor. I've waited a great many years for a chance like this.
We got him right where we want him. Didn't he look guilty?
Take the bags up to our room, Doctor.
They've gone? We thought we heard somebody leaving.
Just Mortimer, and he'll be back in a few minutes. I think Dr. Einstein and I would enjoy a bite.
You won't have time.
No, if you're still here when Mortimer gets back, he won't like it.
Oh, he'll like it. He's got to like it.
Get something for us to eat while we bury Mr. Spinozzi.
Oh, no.
He can't stay in our cellar. No, Jonathan, you've got
downstairs waiting for him.
A friend of Mortimer's?
Oh, they'll get along fine together. They're both dead.
Oh, he must mean Mr. Hoskins.
Mr. Hoskins?
You mean you know about what's downstairs?
Of course we do. And he's no friend of Mortimer's. He's one of our gentlemen.
Your gentleman?
Yes, and we won't have a stranger buried in our cellar.
But Mr. Hoskins,
He's not a stranger.
Besides, there's no room for Mr. Spinello. The cellar's crowded already.
crowded?
What? There are 12 graves down there now.
Well, great.
That leaves very little room, and we're going to need it.
But you mean you and Aunt Martha have murdered 12 people?
Murder? No, certainly not. It's one of our charities.
Why would we do as a mercy?
So you just take your Mr. Spinello out of here?
But you mean to tell me you've done this in this house and you buried them in the cellar?
Johnny, we've been chased all over the world. Your aunt stay here in Brooklyn and do just as good as you do.
What?
You've got 12. Say that.
I've got 13.
No, Johnny.
I've got 13. There's Mr. Spinalzo, the first one in London, 2 in Johannesburg, 1 in Sydney, 1 in Melbourne, 2 in San Francisco, 1 in Phoenix, Arizona, the filling station, 3 in Chicago, and the 1 in South Bend. That makes 13.
But Johnny, you can't count the one in South Bend. He died of pneumonia.
He wouldn't have gotten pneumonia, doctor, if I hadn't shot him.
No, Johnny, he died of pneumonia.
He counts with me, I say 13.
Johnny, you've got 12 and they've got 12. The answer is just as good as you are.
They are they? Well, that's easily taken care of. All I need is 1 more. Just 1 more.
Well, here I am.
You stop doing
This is
that.
our house and this is our cellar. You can't do
Abby,
You start doing what you're doing because it will just have to be undone. All right. Well, you'll see whose house this is.
Hasn't Mortimer come back yet?
No.
It's a terrible thing to do, to bury a good Methodist with a foreigner.
I will not have our cellar desecrated!
And we promised Mr. Hoskins a full Christian funeral. Oh, where do you suppose Mortimer went?
I don't know, but he must be doing something because before he left, he said, "Don't you worry, I'll handle this."
He can't very well handle it while he's out of the house. That's all we want, settled. What's going on down there?
All right, where's Teddy?
Mortimer, where have you been?
I've been over to Dr. Gilchrist. I got his signature on Teddy's commitment papers.
Mortimer, what's the matter with you?
Running around getting paper signs at a time like this.
Do you know what Jonathan's been doing?
He's putting Mr. Hoskins and Mr. Spinalzo in together.
Oh, he is he? Well, that's him. Is Teddy in his room?
Teddy won't be any help.
Once he signs these commitment papers, I can tackle Jonathan.
What have they got to do with it?
You had to go and tell Jonathan about those 12 graves. If I can make Teddy responsible for those, I can protect you. Don't you see?
No, I don't see. And we pay taxes to have the police protect us.
Back down in a minute.
Come, Martha, we're going for the police.
All right. The police? You can't go to the police.
Why not?
Because if you tell the police about Mr. Spinalzo, they'll find Mr. Hoskins too. And then they might get curious and then find out about your other 12 gentlemen.
Mortimer, we know the police better than you do. I don't think they pry into our private affairs if we ask them not.
Your gentlemen, they have to report it to headquarters.
Oh, I'm not so sure they bother. They have to make a very long report, and if there's one thing a policeman hates to do, It's to write.
Depend on that. It might leak out. You can't expect a judge and jury to understand.
Oh, Judge Coleman would.
We know him very well.
He always comes to church to pray, just before election.
And he's coming here for tea someday. He promised.
Oh, yes, we must remind him about that. His wife died a few years ago, and it's left him very lonely.
Well, Martha, come along.
No, I won't let you. You can't leave the house and you can't have Judge Coleman to tea.
Well, if you're not going to do something about Mr. Spinalzo, we
I
are.
am going to do something. We may have to call the police in later, but if we do, I want to be ready for them.
We just want Jonathan out of this house.
And Spinalzo, too.
Will you please let me do this my own way?
They're not out of here by morning, Mortimer. We're going to call the police.
Oh, they'll be out of here, I promise you that. Go to bed, will you? For God's sakes, get out of those clothes. You look like Judith Anderson.
Well, that's a relief, isn't it?
Yes, if Mortimer's really going to do something about Mr. Spinalzo, then Jonathan's just going to a bunch of unnecessary trouble. We'd better tell him. Jonathan, you might as well stop what you're doing.
It's all done. Did I hear Mortimer?
It will just have to be undone. You will all be out of this house by morning. Mortimer's promised.
Is that so? Well, then you two can run along to bed and have a pleasant night's sleep.
Yes. Come.
Good night, aunties.
Not good night, Jonathan. Goodbye. By the time we get up, you will be gone. Mortimer's promised.
And he has a way of doing it, too.
Then Mortimer is back.
Oh, yes. He's up here talking to Teddy.
Goodbye, John.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
Perhaps you'd better say goodbye to Mortimer.
Oh, you'll see Mortimer.
Yes, I'll see Mortimer.
That's all fixed up. Smooth like a lake. Nobody's ever knows there was on there. That bed feels good already. 48 hours and no sleep. I go now, Johnny.
You're forgetting, Doctor.
What?
My brother, Mortimer.
Johnny, we do that tomorrow or the next
No,
day.
we do that tonight. Now.
No, Johnny, not now. I'm sleepy and I got to operate on you tomorrow.
Yes, you're operating tomorrow, Doctor, but tonight we take care of Mortimer.
But Johnny, I'm weak.
Doctor, look at my face. You can see it's going to be done, can't you?
Johnny, I know that's look. I know that's face.
It's a little too late for us to dissolve our partnership.
Okay, we do it. But the quick way, the quick twist, like in London.
No, Doctor, I think this calls for something special. I think perhaps the Melbourne method.
Johnny, not the Melbourne method. 2 hours? Then what? The fellow in Melbourne was just as dead as the fellow in London.
We had to work too fast in London, Doctor. There was no aesthetic satisfaction. But Melbourne, there was something to remember.
Remember, I wish I didn't. No, Johnny, not Melbourne, not
Yes,
me.
Doctor. Where are your instruments?
I want to do it, Johnny.
Get your instruments.
No, Johnny.
You hid them in the cellar. Where?
I won't tell you.
I'll find them, Doctor.
Don't do that, Mr. President.
I cannot sign any proclamation without first consulting my cabinet.
This must be a secret.
Secret proclamation? How unusual.
Japan mustn't know until it's been signed.
Japan, those yellow devils, you have my word for it. I'll sign it right away. I can let my cabinet know later.
All right, let's go and sign it.
No, you wait here. A secret proclamation must be signed in secret.
But at once, Mr. President.
I'll have to get my sign clothes on.
You go now, eh?
No, Doctor, I'm waiting for something. Something important.
Please, you go now.
Doctor, Mr. Einstein, I have nothing against you personally. You seem to be a nice enough fellow. Take my advice and get out of this house and just as far away as possible.
Trouble! Yeah! Get away now!
All right, don't say I didn't warn you.
No, I'm warning you. Get away quick!
Things are going to start popping around here any minute.
Listen, Johnny's in a bad mood. When he's like this, things happen. Terrible things.
Jonathan doesn't worry me now.
Himmel, don't those plays teach you anything?
About what?
Well, at least the people in the plays act like they got sense. That's more than you do.
Oh, you think so, do you? You think people in plays act intelligently? I wish you had to sit through some of the ones I have to sit through. Take the little opus I saw tonight, for instance. In it, there's this man. He's supposed to be bright. He knows he's in a house with murderers. He's even been warned to get out of the house. Does he go? No. He stays there. Now ask him, Doctor. Is this something an intelligent person would do?
You're asking me.
You have no sense to be frightened, to be on guard. For instance, the murderer invites him to sit down.
You mean...
Won't you sit down?
Believe it or not, that one was in there too.
And what did he do?
He sat down. Now mind you, this fellow's supposed to be bright. So there he sits, just waiting to be trussed up. And what do you think they tie him up with?
What?
The curtain cord.
Oh, a good idea. Very convenient.
A little too convenient. When our playwright's going to use some imagination. The curtain cord.
You didn't see him get it?
See him? He sat there with his back to him. That's the kind of stuff I used to sit through, night after night. And they say the critics are killing the theater, it's the playwrights who are killing the theater. So there he sits, the big dope, this fellow is supposed to be bright, just waiting to be trussed up and gagged.
Oh, you're right about that fellow. He wasn't very bright.
Now, Mortimer, if you don't mind, we'll finish the story. I've been away for 20 years, but not once in all that time, my dear brother, were you out of my mind. In Melbourne one night, I dreamed of you. When I landed in San Francisco, I felt a strange satisfaction. I was once again in the same country as you. Now then, we get to work, Doctor.
Please, Johnny, for me, it's a quick
No,
way.
Doctor, this really must be an artistic achievement. After all, we're performing before a very distinguished critic.
Now, Johnny.
Doctor!
Okay, let's get it over with.
All ready for you, Doctor.
I got to have a drink. I can't do this without a drink.
Pull yourself together, Doctor.
I got to have a drink. When we came here this afternoon, there was wine here, remember? Where did she put it? Ah, look, Johnny, I buy drinks. But that's all there is. I'll split it with you.
One moment, Doctor, please. Where are your manners? Yes, Mortimer, I realize now it was you that brought me back to Brooklyn. Doctor, to my dead brother. Damn that idiot! He goes next, that's all. He goes next.
No, Johnny, that's Teddy. That's
Never
my stuff.
We get to Teddy later.
No, we don't get to Teddy at all.
Now we've got to work fast.
The quick way?
Let's talk to the quick way.
Hey! The girl's got to put more in that horn.
We're taking the bugle away from him, officer.
There's going to be hell's hand warning. We promised the neighbors we wouldn't do that anymore.
It's all right, officer. Good night.
I better tell them myself. Wear lights. Lean over now what Kelly's for you.
Oh! What happened to him?
He was explaining what's happening to the fellow in the play.
They had met the play you saw tonight? Gee, you practically still left the second act of my play. Why, in my second act, just before the... Oh, why, I better begin at the beginning. It opens in my mother's dressing room, where I was born. Only, I ain't born yet, huh? Oh, yeah. No, you gotta hear the plot. My mother's sitting there making up, see? When all of a sudden, this man with a black mustache comes in, turns to her and says, Miss Latour, will you marry me? He doesn't know she's pregnant. So there she is, lying unconscious across the table in her lingerie. Chick is standing over her with a hatchet. I'm tied up in a chair, just like you are. The place is an inferno of flames. It's on fire. When all of a sudden, you roll the window, in comes Mayor LaGuardia. Hey, remember who paid for that? Go easy on it.
Well, I'm listening, ain't I?
And how do you like it so far?
You put Johnny to sleep.
Forget about him. If he don't got any more interest in that, he don't get it. Alright. It's 3 days later. I've been transferred and I'm on charges. That's because somebody stole my badge. Alright. I'm walking my beat on Staten Island. 46 precinct. When it turns out this guy I'm following is really following me. Don't let anybody in. So I figures I'll outsmart him. There's a vacant house on the corner. I goes in.
It's cut!
I stand there in the dark and I see the door handle turn.
Johnny, it's cut! It's cut! It's cut!
I pulled my gun, braces myself against the wall, and I said, come in. Hello, girls.
What the hell is going on here?
Hey, Pam, what do you know? This here is Mortimer Brewster. He's gonna run my play with me.
Did you have to tie him up to make him listen? Joe, you better report in at the station. The whole force is out looking for you.
Did they send you here for me?
We didn't know he was here.
Oh, we came to warn the old ladies that
There's hell to pay. Colonel blew that bugle again last night. From the way the neighbors have been calling in about it, you'd think the Germans had dropped a bomb on Flatbush Avenue.
Lieutenant's on the warpath. He says Colonel's got to be put away someplace.
Yes! Yes!
wow. Gee, Mr. Brewster, looks like I gotta get away. I'll just run through the third act quick.
You get away from me!
Hey, you know what time it is? It's after 8 o'clock in the morning.
It is? Well, gee, Mr. Brewster, looks like the first 2 acts run a little long, but I just don't see anything we can leave out.
You can leave it all out.
Who the hell is this guy?
That's my brother.
The one who ran away. So he came back.
Yes, he came back.
This is Brophy. Get me Mac. I better tell them we found you, Joe.
Yeah.
Mac, tell the lieutenant to call off the big man. We got him in the Brewster house.
Do you want us to bring him in? All right, we'll hold him here. Lieutenant's on his way over.
Yeah.
So I've been turned in, eh? All right, you got me. And I suppose you and that stool pigeon brother of mine are splitting the reward? Reward? Now I'll do some turning in. You think those answer my sweet Charlie, innocent old lady? Well, there are 13 bodies buried in their cellar.
Teddy!
Oh,
Teddy!
what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, you'd better be careful what you're saying about your aunts. They happen to be friends of ours.
I'll show you, I'll prove it to you. 13 bodies. Show you where they're buried.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
You don't want to see what's down in the cellar.
You go down to the cellar with him, Annie. You want to go down the cellar with this guy? Look at this mug. He looks like Boris Karloff.
No!
I think that's it! Get him off me! What do you know about that?
Mom, come in.
What the devil are you men doing here? I told you I was going to handle this.
Well, sir,
What happened? Did he put up a fight?
this ain't the fellow who blows the bugle. This is his brother. He tried to kill Klein. They said he looked like Boris Karloff.
Well, pull him out.
We kind of think he's wanted someplace.
Oh, you think he's wanted somewhere? Well, if you guys don't look at the circulars we hang up at the station, at least you could reach your detective. Certainly he's wanted in Indiana. Escaped from the prison for the criminal insane. He's a lifer. For God's sakes, that's how he was described. He looks like Karloff. Was there a reward mentioned? Yes. I'm claiming it.
He was trying to get us to go down into the cellar with him. He said there was 13 bodies buried down there.
13 bodies. And that didn't tip you off. He came out of a nut house.
I thought all along you felt kind of crazy.
Oh, it's Shakespeare. Where have you been all night?
Oh, well,
And you needn't bother to tell me.
well, I was just right here, writing my play with Mortimer.
Oh, yeah? Well, certainly you'll have enough time to write that play. You're suspended. Now get back and report in.
Well, can I come by sometime and use the station typewriter?
No! Get out of here. Take that guy somewhere else and bring him to me. See what you can find out about his accomplice. The one that helped him escape? He's wanted too. No wonder he's in the shape and sent with a police force full of flatheads like you two falling for a text order 13 bodies in the cellar.
But there are 13 bodies buried in the cellar.
Who are you?
I'm President Roosevelt.
Roosevelt that blows you. What the devil is this?
All the bodies in the cellar are, oh dear me, another yellow fever victim. All the bodies in the cellar are yellow fever victims.
No, Colonel, this is a spy we found in the White House.
Will you get that guy out of here?
If there's any question of spies, that's my department.
You keep out of this.
You're forgetting, as president, I'm also in charge of the Secret Service.
Captain, I'm Mortimer Brewster.
Are you sure?
I'd like to talk to you about my brother Teddy, the one who blew the bugle.
Mr. Brewster, we're not going to talk about that. He's got to be
Dr. Gilchrist, family physician, his son is Teddy's son himself, nice to meet you.
Well, where's he going?
Happy Dale.
All right. I don't care where he goes, as long as he goes.
Oh, he's going all right. But I want you to know that everything that's happened around here, Teddy's responsible for. Now those 13 bodies in the cellar.
Yeah, those 13 bodies in the cellar. It ain't enough that the neighbors are all afraid of him and is blowing the bugle. But can you imagine what would happen if that cockeyed story about 13 bodies in the cellar got around? And now he's starting a yellow fever scare. Cute, ain't it?
13 bodies. You think anyone would believe that story?
Well, you can't tell. Some people are just dumb enough. About a year ago, a crazy guy starts a murder rumor over in Greenpoint, and I had to dig up a half-acre lot just...
Will you excuse me?
Good morning, Mortimer.
Good morning, dear.
This is Mr. Witherspoon. He's come to meet Teddy.
To meet Teddy.
He's the superintendent of Happydale.
Come right in. This is Captain...
Mortimer. I'm not captain, lieutenant. Well, nice to meet you, Super. I see you've come to take Teddy today.
Today?
Not today.
Elaine, I've got a lot of business to attend to. You run along home and I'll call you up.
Nuts.
Today I didn't know the problem was this immediate.
Well, he signed all the papers. He's going along with you today.
Complete insubordination! You men will find out I'm no Malachite. When the President of the United States is treated like this, where does this country come to?
There's your man, Super.
Now, just a minute. Mr. President, I have some very good news for you. Your term of office is over.
Is it March the 4th? Practically. Let me see. Oh, now I go on my hunting trip to Africa. Is he trying to move into the office before I, no doubt?
Who, Teddy? That isn't Mr. Taft's role, Mr. President. That is Mr. Witherspoon. He's to be your guide to Africa.
Bully, I'll bring down the equipment immediately. When they come, tell them to wait. Hence Abby, hence Martha, I'm going to Africa. Isn't it wonderful? Sir!
Good morning, darlings.
Oh, we have visitors.
This is Lieutenant's room.
Oh, Lieutenant, how do you do? My, you don't look like the bus budget the policemen say you are.
Now, while the lieutenant is here, you know Teddy blew his bugle again last night.
Oh, yes, we're going to speak to him about that.
I'm afraid it's a little more serious than that, Miss Brewster.
And you haven't met Mr. Witherspoon. He's the superintendent of Happydale.
Oh, Mr. Witherspoon, how do you do?
You've come to meet Teddy.
He's come to take Teddy.
And the police want you to go there today.
No,
Not while we're alive.
I'm sorry, Miss Brewster, but it has to be done. He's committed himself and he's going along with the superintendent.
Well, we won't permit it. We promise we'll take the bugle away from him.
We won't be separated from Teddy.
I'm sorry, ladies, but the law is the law. He's committed himself and he's going.
Well, if he goes, we're going too.
Well, why not?
It's a nice intent, but we don't take sane people at Happydale.
Mr. Witherspoon, if you'll let us live there with Teddy, we'll be sure that Happydale is included in our will. And for a very generous amount.
Well, we could use the money, but I'm afraid...
Now, let's be sensible about this, ladies. For instance, here I am wasting my morning when I've got serious work to do. You know there are still murders to be solved in Brooklyn?
Yes. Oh, there are.
It's not only his bugle blowing, and the neighbors all afraid of him, but things would just get worse. Sooner or later, we'd be put through the trouble of digging up your cellar.
Our cellar?
Yes, your nephew's been going around telling that there are 13 bodies in your cellar.
But there are 13 bodies in our cellar.
If that's why you think Teddy has to go away, you come right downstairs and we'll prove it to you.
There's one, Spinalzo, who doesn't belong here and will have to leave. But the others are our gentlemen.
You don't want to do that, Lieutenant. Remember, you were just telling me about how you had to dig up a half-acre lot, weren't you, Lieutenant?
That's right. Oh, you wouldn't have to dig here. The graves are all marked. We put flowers on them every Sunday.
Flowers. Don't you think you could make room for these ladies, Super?
Well,
You come right along with us and we'll show you the graves.
I'm afraid I wouldn't have time. I'm a busy woman.
Oh, you're here too?
Morning, Miss Klein.
Good morning, Miss Brewster. Me and Brophy have got your other nephew back out in the kitchen.
About my aunts, Teddy committed themselves. Can't they commit themselves? Can't they sign the papers?
yes, they can.
Why, if we can go with Teddy, we'll sign any papers. Where are they?
Yes, where are they?
sign right here.
And you here, Aunt Abby?
Oh, I'm really looking forward to going. The neighborhood here has changed so.
Just think, a front lawn again.
We're overlooking something.
What?
We need the signature of a doctor.
Oh! Einstein, would you come over here for a minute?
I think I must go.
Right over, doctor. At one time last night, I thought the doctor was going to operate on me. Just come over, doctor. Sign right here, doctor.
Were you leaving, Doctor?
Yes, I think I must go.
Aren't you going to wait for Jonathon?
I don't think we're going to the same place.
Oh, it's nice to see you. Stick around, huh?
Don't worry, I'm going to.
Hello, Mac. Rooney. We picked up that guy that's wanted in Indiana. Now, there's a description of his accomplice. It's on the desk. Read it to me. But 5'4", 54, blue eyes, 140 pounds, talks with a German accent, poses as a doctor. Thanks, Mac.
It's all right, Lieutenant. The doctor here has just completed all the signatures.
Thanks, Doc. You're really doing Brooklyn a service.
Well, you better get going.
Miss Brewster, will you sign as next of kin?
Yes, of course. And this makes everything complete. Everything legal?
Why, yes.
Why, aunties, now you're safe.
When do you think you'll be able to start?
Mr. Witherspoon, why don't you go upstairs and tell Teddy just what he can bring?
Upstairs?
I'll show you.
Oh, no, Mortimer, you stay here. We want to talk to you. Yes, Mr. Witherspoon, just upstairs and to the left.
Well,
Mortimer, now that we're moving, this house really is yours.
Yes, dear, we want you to live here now.
Oh no, this house is too full of amenities.
But you'll need someplace to live when you and Elaine are married.
Now, darlings, that's very indefinite.
That's nothing of the kind. We're to be married right away.
Mortimer, we're really very worried about something.
Darlings, you're going to love it at Happydale.
Oh no, we're very happy about the whole thing. That's just it. We don't want anything to go wrong.
Will they investigate those signatures?
They won't look up Dr. Einstein.
Oh, it's not his signature we're worried about, dear. It's yours.
You see, you signed as next of kin.
Yes, of course. Why not?
It's never something we really wanted to tell you, and you're a man now, and it's something Elaine really should know. You see, dear, you're not really a Brewster.
Your mother came to us as a cook, and you were born about 3 months afterward. But she was such a sweet woman and such a good cook that we didn't want to lose her. So brother married her.
I'm not really a Brewster?
Now don't feel badly about it, dear.
Elaine, it won't make any difference to you.
Elaine, did you hear? Do you understand? I'm a bastard!
Well, I'll get things started in the kitchen.
Mortimer's coming over to my house. Father's in Philadelphia, and Mortimer and I are going to have breakfast together.
Yes, I need some coffee. I've had quite a night.
In that case, I should think you'd want to get to bed.
I do.
Before you leave, Mr. Witherspoon, take this with you.
We won't need the wagon. My car's out front.
You're leaving now, Jonathan.
Yes, he's going back to Indiana. There's some people there that want to take care of him for the rest of his life. Come on.
Well, Jonathan, it's nice to know you have some place to go.
We're leaving too.
Yes, we're going to Happydale.
Then this house has seen the last of the Brewsters.
Unless Mortimer wants to live here.
I have a suggestion to make. Why don't you turn this place over to the church?
Oh, we never thought of that before.
After all, it should be part of the cemetery.
Come along, I'm a busy woman.
Goodbye, aunties. Well, I can't better my record now, but neither can you. At least I have that satisfaction. The score stands even. 12 to 12. 12 to 12.
Jonathon always was a mean boy. He never could stand to see anyone get ahead of him.
I wish we could show him he isn't so smart. Mr. Witherspoon, does your family live with you at Happydale?
I haven't got any family.
But I suppose you consider everyone at Happydale your family.
Yes, but my position requires me to remain quite aloof.
That must make it very lonely.
Yes, but my duty is my duty.
Martha, if Mr. Witherspoon won't join us for breakfast, I think we should at least offer him a glass of our elderberry wine.
Elderberry wine.
We make it ourselves.
Well, of course, at Happydale our relationship must remain formal, but here, well, I thought I tasted my last glass of elderberry wine.
Oh, no.
No. Here it is.